You're listening to Amazing Radio. This is Amazing Afternoons. Delighted to say that we have Saramai and Cormac from Perlee here on the show with us. They've also done a wonderful session for us. But first of all, thank you so much, guys. How are you?
Really good, Frankie. Yeah, delighted to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on. Where do we find you this afternoon? Because am I right in thinking you're an Irish act, but you were based or are based in Germany?
Yeah, that's right. We're currently speaking to you from Berlin. We kind of flit a lot between the two places, between Ireland and Berlin, but we're currently in Berlin, and we're just down in our little studio here. We've got a show coming up back at home, so we're rehearsing for that. And yeah, if anybody's familiar with Berlin, we're in Kreuzberg, just beside Gorlitzer Park. There, we have a little lair here that we're working
Our
away.
bunker.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good indeed. Kreuzberg, very cool area of Berlin. What's the scene like over there? Do you feel like you're part of that, or do you just crack on and do your own thing?
Yeah, I think more so when we arrived first, we were just like gigging all the time. And then during the pandemic, we had a baby. So we don't get out just as much as we used to, but we're slowly starting
We're
to
dipping,
again,
dipping the toe
actually.
back in again, but yeah, I mean it's always changing, I guess, the scene in Berlin. But yeah, we've got there's a kind of a large Irish community here, and there's a kind of a yeah, there's lots of we have a big circle of musician friends that we can go and see each other's gigs and whatnot.
Yeah, we're in good touch with them, and a lot of them are releasing music like Nina Hines and Fanning and Jess and Rufus Coates, and yeah, I mean, I guess we started kind of doing the folk thing, and then slowly started being able to do more band gigs, and yeah, there's just so much music here. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's good. And back home as well, I think we are playing a lot of music from Ireland, particularly the Republic of Ireland at the moment. And I feel like we have done over the last few years, but I guess when you got bands like Fontaine's DC, really putting it back on the map, from an indie point of view. But then
Absolutely, and
I
Gala
mean,
Band is
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, I mean, even yesterday, I was just looking at my notes. Who did I play yesterday? There's a new band called Big Sleep. I play. I feel like most days I'm playing a band from Ireland. Why do you think that
Yeah.
is?
I think it's just Ireland seems to be having a moment. It's hard to understand because I mean, I guess like the UK, there's challenges with venues and stuff for people to play, but I guess it's just in the blood in Ireland. Everybody I know seems to play the guitar, even if it's just as a pastime or so. It's kind of inevitable that a lot of the bands start to emerge. I think there's lots of like in Limerick. I know. I mean, I don't know the scene that well, but I know that there is a great scene in Limerick of DIY kind of gigs happening, and the same in Cork, and then
Same in our hometown, Navan.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Brilliant DIY scene. Yeah, I agree. I think there's just an amazing kind of surgence of
yeah. I mean, it's
unbelievable music.
yeah.
I don't know
CMA
why that happens. Perfect storm, maybe.
CMAT has a song out today, I think, or yesterday. She's fantastic, and there's just so much
Yeah,
stuff
she's so
happening. Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
Arborist is a great artist who seems to be releasing fantastic stuff at the moment as well. Yeah.
Maybe could it be because like everybody had a lot of time in their hands and they're just like it's all being released now.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
maybe.
the,
Yeah.
the COVID bounty, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it is, yeah. But Arborist, you mentioned a great artist we've been playing recently as well.
Yeah.
I could go on, but I want to speak about you guys and the path you have been on. So, tell us a bit about where you're at in your career. A couple of EPs in now. We've been playing a few singles from you over the years. Now, I understand the having a child obviously takes up a bit of time and maybe stops anything, and obviously a global pandemic and moving to a different country stops kind of any kind of progress. But I from what I see from you guys, you have still put out music. I just want to, for the people listening who aren't aware of your music, just tell us a little bit about why you make music and what you're all about.
Gosh, why? I think we wouldn't be able to not, and stay sane. Yeah, I don't know, we've been playing music since we were small in different ways and covers and weddings and original music. And slowly now we're totally writing together, which is not like saying, here, I have a song, will you play guitar on it? Or, here's a song, will you put down some keys and sing some harmonies? We're like really in the trenches writing together.
Yeah.
And that started just around the time we moved to Berlin.
Yeah, I suppose we're kind of collaborators in the proper sense now, whereas we were sort of doing our own thing for years and maybe, contributing to each other's projects. but Perlee kind of came about just before we moved here, and then it kind of it just started to kind of take itself more seriously, I guess, when we got here. And
there was something about gigging, I think, in Berlin, because it's such an experimental city. So we would go and do what we thought was really weird at a gig, you know, thought we were really pushing the boat. And then it was like just the poppiest kind of like a love pop, but it was like we were trying to push the boat. We realized, oh, we're not really pushing the boat. So there was great freedom then. Not that we just want to push the boat, but it's kind of nice to explore things. And it's just a really good city to do that. And because it's so big, and there's lots of tiny venues here, you know, say 50-person venues, 20, like loopholes, like 30 people. So that kind of helped us get excited about a sound and try things and go out and like make mistakes and not be afraid. There was something nice about that. So I think then we kind of hit on a sound that we feel, I don't know if we could put it into words, but we kind of, you know, we kind of know what it is. And we're also trying to figure it out and push it further all the time. So I guess that's what the EPs were about. And then the record, and Matt Ingram came on board to drum and mix. And he was just like, at the helm, keeping us level.
Yeah. What's the weirdest gig you've seen in Berlin then?
Oh, right. The one with the dogs and the fish.
Well, yeah, the dogs and the fish. Yeah, I think it was that one. So we did a gig with this kind of experimental New York guy called, was it John V or something?
Yeah, he's brilliant. And variety.
He had, well, part of his show, there was two kind of, it felt like almost like a cult-like experience. It was like we were kind of witnessing this cult performing. But he had two girls or ladies either side of the stage holding mirrors that were reflecting his own performance back to him, and then
wearing big long white gowns.
And then at the end of the show, there was a dead fish, like a salmon or something, and he started cutting that fish up. And then there was a big punch bowl of red wine. And then he started just splashing himself, dousing himself in the red wine. So that was. And
meanwhile, there was two greyhounds in the audience wearing raincoats, a yellow raincoat and a blue
This does sound like an acid trip, but
and we presumed that the dogs were part of the show, and the dogs just wanted the fish. And then it turned out the dogs were just at the gig and just happened to be wearing raincoats because it was raining and dogs wear clothes. It was just the trippiest thing. And we were coming on next. We were like, oh my God.
We had to go on after that.
How are we going to follow this insane thing? But it was actually the best show. Like it was lovely. And they cleaned up everything afterwards. It was like, there was
efficient.
They were kind of.
It was kind of like, and then they all wrapped it up, and it was like conscientious, just like
crazy, yeah.
So that was up there.
That sounds very fun. You've done some session tracks for us this afternoon here on Amazing Radio. I think we're going to play out Lampshade first, which is a track we've played here before on Amazing Radio. Could you just tell us a little bit about this track and how you've approached this session for us?
Yeah, so the track, how did it come about? I guess, I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a play on, you know, when you go on Instagram and it's all about finding the real you and this kind of thing. And it's just like you're always being sold the self that you could be or something. So it was kind of just came out of that feeling of wanting to play with that. And then also being like, well, it's actually really nice when you do get comfortable in your own skin. And then we were kind of like, it would be funny to just play about with all that. And then we got that bass line and kind of sped up a few times. And
we definitely messed around a little bit back and forth with Matt, who mixed the record and drummed on it. In terms of the sound, it wanted to pick up pace a little bit. It wanted to be a faster song than we had it originally. And I remember kind of coming up with a kind of a Johnny Marr-esque sort of little riff that I was happy with. And it just kind of came together like that, you know.
And then we thought we'd just play it at home, low key. I don't know, in our apartment. We have some instruments there as well. So we've just got acoustic guitar and like a piano, like a home piano. So we hope people like it.
Yeah, let's hear it now. This is Perlee with their track Lampshade for us here on Amazing Radio. You're listening to Amazing Radio. This is Amazing Afternoons. That was a wonderful session for us, a version of Lampshade by Perlee, who are on the line with me right now. What would you say is the main influences behind your music? You obviously are influenced by circumstance, environment, and and life experience. But I mean, what about musically, or literature or films, anything like that inspire your music?
Yeah, well, I guess Low would be a massive influence, slowcore band from America. Alan Sparhawk and Mimi Parker, who unfortunately
Recently
died.
died, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they were sort of a lighthouse for us along the way, just in the way that they could sing really softly and then have this heavy music, like, a juggernaut, and just that balance. So I guess we were kind of fascinated by that. And also they're a couple and they managed to make music together and not kill each
kind
other.
of inspiring.
Yeah, who else would we?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, where would you start?
People, like when we first started playing, people started mentioned like the Cocktail Twins and Beach House, and I guess, well, Beach House we could hear before, and I guess we hear now that we've been. Wasn't so familiar with Cocktail Twins when people started comparing them to us, but or us to them, should I say? But now we're kind of we've kind of discovered how magnificent they are and stuff, and yeah.
We went through a big Blue Nile phase.
Blue Nile are a big band
Love
for
the
us
Blue
too.
Nile.
Yeah, I love them. I only
we were reading a lot
discovered
of
Blue Nile's. Well, really got into Blue Nile's other record. Was it Hats? Is it the other one? Not the one with Tinsel
Across the
Town.
Rooftops. Hats
Yes.
is the second one.
So
Yeah.
so Hats is an incredible record, which I only got into really during lockdown. I previously loved the other record. And I actually liked his solo record, Paul Buchanan's solo record.
Yeah, that song
so
Mid-Air
beautiful.
is just
It's
so
incredible
Stunning
record, isn't it?
vocal. It's just like he can do this music that should be so cheesy.
Yeah.
And it's not. And I don't know how it's not
just,
cheesy.
he seems to inject just an incredible yearning into his vocal, and it's kind of it feels like he's striving for something that's never going to get there, but it's so beautiful to hear or to experience.
You just believe him, I guess, when he sings.
Yeah, it's incredible and really moving as well. And I think the technology he used, I read somewhere, I think that, Lynn, who make the drum machines and stuff, they put it out, didn't they? I think one of the records, or certainly a couple of records.
Right,
and then they would just give them some technology and say, why don't you try this on the record and stuff like that.
I think they were maybe one of the first bands to ever use the Lynn drum machine.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah, it's iconic. They kind of nailed it, didn't they?
Yeah. Such a great band. We're going to hear another session from you guys now. Lived Out Moons. Can you tell us a little bit about this track, please?
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of it kind of has a lot of the themes that we touch on the album. Kind of, long distance sort of love and sort of familial ties and kind of I guess being away from home and kind of reflecting on all that and and then I guess musically Portishead and stuff like that were definitely a big influence for this, and we kind of wanted to, I don't know, it felt like it wanted to have that trip hop feel to it. This is the recording, obviously, and anything else to say about it?
Yeah, we just loved what Matt did on it. It's just kind of this amazing loop, which was gorgeous. So we actually, in this session, we got his parts on the sampler on the 404, and then again we're playing with the acoustic and the digital piano. with some string sounds and stuff, which, you know, wouldn't be out of place on a Blue Nile record, that string
No.
sound.
No, fantastic. Let's hear it then. Here is Perlee in session once again for us here on Amazing Radio. Perlee in session for us here on Amazing Radio, an incredible session for us. And we were speaking about influences and other bands earlier before. And in fact, tomorrow, Everything But the Girl, another famous couple who've made music, they released their first record in like 25 years or something like that. And, you know, they've embraced technology as they've moved throughout their careers. Is that something you would like to do in terms of like push yourselves in a more experimental way?
Yeah, totally. We keep getting drum machines. We just got this little one off Toman the other day. It's amazing, analog, and it was so inexpensive. And we like old gear as well, and starting to experiment more with the samplers, loop pedals.
Yeah, I just recently got a baritone guitar that I'm looking forward to trying to experiment with, and maybe trying to take some steps into stereo amping. And yeah, so we're definitely, but in terms of, I guess, yeah, like modern, we're not so familiar with the likes of Ableton and stuff like that. That's what we're still
No, we do, like, we recorded our whole, like, all the album totally ourselves, apart from the drums that were recorded remotely. So we kind of would do that, like work in Logic and stuff. But we're interested in layering, I think, and pedals. I love trying pedals with cute, weird guitar pedals with keyboard. So yeah, we're all the time kind of like, I wonder what will happen if we do this.
So I guess when it comes to a point though, when you are buying all this analog gear and trying all these different ideas and layering, as you say, on your tracks, what happens when you come to playing live then? What's the setup and how do you get around that then?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the gigs that we're going to do in our hometown next week, we're doing as a two-piece, and the record obviously sounds quite layered and textured. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of those songs started as kind of vocal and guitar, vocal and piano, as we were working them out, and kind of as we go along, sometimes in the evenings at home, we're kind of working them almost like folk songs. So they kind of work in theory, really stripped down or really big, but we kind of always try to lift it somewhere in the middle. Like,
yeah, we have flavors of some of the layers that we have on the recordings in the live set, but it won't be obviously the whole thing. It's impossible to recreate. We just don't have enough limbs to happen. But no, looking forward to seeing how it goes. It's been a while since we performed live, so looking forward.
And
I
remember we went to see Low at the start of their Double Negative tour, thinking like, how are they going to do this? And they came out and did it like a folk show, and it was unbelievable. You know what I mean? It was like Things We Lost in the Fire. It was like really stripped back. And it was equally great. And that was at the beginning. I think Dublin was the start of their tour. And then we saw them at the end of the tour, and they had worked it up more into like the Double Negative stuff. And it's just that idea of performance can be fluid and, kind of learning all the time. So yeah, I think we're kind of taking a cue from them.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? When you go and see a live experience and it's very much a unique thing, and it's fantastic. It sounds like everything's going well for Perlee in 2023. Are you planning on following up, speaking from other rooms anytime soon? I imagine you've already started work on other bits and bobs.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we were sitting on this one for a while, so yeah, there's lots of new ideas. We had a nice kind of writing session with a friend who's a drummer in Ireland recently, and so we're hoping to kind of hash out some of those ideas and see where it goes. But hopefully, we'll have something out.
We have definitely the bones of a record.
Yeah, next year hopefully.
Yeah, more music, more gigs as well.
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to do a kind of a string of German dates in the autumn, and also hopefully in the spring, and then some Irish dates too. So yeah.
Exciting times. Very good. Thank you so much for coming on Amazing Radio. Perlee.
Thanks so much for having us, Frankie.